since 2008 when it started as a custom experiences creator. So we were doing tons, small scale interactive with the visitor center concept, where we started off as virtual reality attractions manufacturers with Arkadia, which at the time was one, if not the first, 6-player small size VR attractions. Our second flagship product, which is Qbix, a 6-player immersive projection room, but it works completely 100% self-service. This is currently in roughly 45 locations, and we estimate up to 100 by the end of this year. Uses projections, the handheld controller, that a vibrating floor, wind effects.
You can see as well this shift, not just about shooting anymore, but how can our consumers interact with each other.
Funny story, everyone that I meet in this industry, once you get in, a couple of years in, you are never going to leave. The most important thing we looked at is what is actually our passion. We love that feeling when you see them having fun together.
From Inowize, joining us from Romania. Stefan, welcome. RH1 Unplugged is a format that allows industry leaders to share their experience in the FEC world, to share a bit of insights about the industry, about your products, about what makes this industry so exciting, and hear about some of your challenges and accomplishments. And foremost, tell us a bit about your career. Stefan, tell us about your background, where you are, how did you get to where you are today?
Awesome. Hello, Claude. Hello, everyone watching us. Thank you so much for having me here today from sunny Romania in a very beautiful morning. I'm the head of sales, the global head of sales here at Inowize, and I've been doing it for several years now. A funny story, everyone that I meet in this industry kind of shares the same experience. Once you get in, a couple of years in, you are never going to leave. And I feel I'm on the right track for that to happen. As a short background, I've been working in sales for all of my professional life, even since university. And I think the passion for what is this industry actually started back then when I was 18 years old. I started studies, and I was doing a lot of voluntary work in a local NGO, an NGO that was doing a lot of events, a lot of social large-scale events here in Romania, in our university city of Iași. I was doing fundraising, but also a lot of people management, event management, constant sleepless nights, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation to do, but I just loved it. I fell in love with the excitement, with the fun, and with the social elements behind it. And that's something that I carried on ever since, even today. And a big chunk of my friends are coming from that background. So that was the start. During the summer, while studying, I was also doing real estate sales as a summer job. And that was a fun experience as well, and just made me fall in love even more with the sales world, with actually helping people, doing the most that you can to see someone happy, grateful for what they bought with your help. Once I finished studies, I got into my first solid work environment, let's call it like that, which was advertising. It was several years. They were around 3-4 years while I worked as sales, then a sales leader in the advertising world. And I learned a lot back then, a lot about what it means creative thinking, product positioning, sales cycle, marketing, classical advertising. But even beyond that, I learned and established a proper technical background, understanding manufacturing, understanding how colors work, how certain elements go together, how steel mixes with plastic, how textile is printed, how printing works. And that was the foundation for my current manufacturing background, getting that logical, technical thinking together with the sales, the marketing background, and basically all of that as a complete package. And I still refer to those days a lot with what I'm doing today, looking at every arcade machine.
Those days are not too long ago. Stefan, you make it look like you're 50, 60.
Oh, that was about 7, 8 years ago. A lot of time ago. But it was a solid experience, and I'm seeing a lot of that same manufacturing process, that same know-how being applied in our industry today.
Which kind of manufacturing was this?
Everything that involved large size prints, banners, indoor theming, indoor customization, how vinyl works, how colors works, how engraving works. Basically everything that we see inscripted or themed today, I had the hand in it back starting 2016. So almost, soon it's going to be 10 years ago. So I am getting older and older. That earlier joke about us getting grayer.
About the beard. Well, you're catching up, my friend.
It's real. Those were fun times.
As a head of sales, Stefan, I mean, I'm trying to follow you on social media, and I can't keep track of how many countries you're covering. I saw maybe one post 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? Is it in Turkey, in Istanbul?
Yeah. I was traveling a lot in January. Quite a lot. Happily, February is going to be a stay at home. I'm not usually excited about staying at home, but this time I am. It involves traveling a lot, and our industry generally does, especially when you are on the manufacturing side. We need to explore, we need to understand the markets that we want to work with, the people that we want to work with, and not just clients, operators, but the demographic that they work with as well. So related to the local trade show in Turkey called Atrax, a trade show that gathers a lot of Turkish manufacturers and even some outside. It also collects a lot of operators from Turkey and generally Central Asia. A lot of them are coming to that event. And beyond that, together with my colleague Nazim, who's our sales director for the Middle Eastern market, we went on a deep exploration of the entertainment offerings that Istanbul has. Let's learn, let's explore, let's see what people play, let's see who plays it, let's understand this market as much as we can. And funny enough, in a couple of days, I actually lost around 4 or 5 pounds, which is awesome.
So you're talking about manufacturing, and maybe this is might be a good time to share a bit about your product, share about your company, your manufacturing, but tell us more about what you're manufacturing about. Give us some insights about Inowize and some of your product range.
Short history drop. Inowize has been active as a company and as a group since 2008. And back then, the company started as a custom content, custom experiences creator. So we were doing tons small scale interactive. That was the word of the time back in 2008 until 2012. Interactive experiences using augmented reality technology. VR was not that big then, so we did explore the classic phone in the headset VR as well. And as technology grew, we grew as well. We got bigger and bigger. For several years, we were doing custom indoor theming and indoor exhibition for museums.
What was your market?
Romania, in the Romanian museum market. And Romania has a wide offering of castles, citadels, museums in central cities. We did a ton of projects. And one of our favorite is actually a citadel that hangs on a cliff. And we did everything in there, from the augmented reality, exhibition solutions, educational sessions, to literal cannons. Those were a fun thing to do.
So the company is 12, 13 years old, if my math all right?
Around 13 years old at the point. After museums, we fell in love with the visitor center concept. We wanted to explore it further and further, so we got into amusement, into attractions. A first trade show in Germany back at the time in 2016. And all of that slowly put us in the direction where we are today, which is the amusement and leisure sector. where we started off as virtual reality attractions manufacturers with Arkadia, our 6-player VR arena, which at the time was one, if not the first, 6-player small size VR attractions. And today, with our second flagship product, which is Qbix, a 6-player immersive projection room, completely different than VR, but at the same time extremely immersive, extremely fun for groups, for players, and roughly unique type of product.
Company started, if I understand well, in the education and exhibition phase.
Yeah.
I was writing some of the notes that you shared about, well, COVID was a big hitter,
yes.
a big disruptor, which kind of pushed the company to pivot. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that shift and how today the vision of the company is more on driving no longer, let's say, education or exhibitions, but more on the family entertainment center? How many years have you been with the company now?
I think seven, eight. Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. So you were there during that key transition as a business. Yes. Can you walk us through what happened at that time and what were the kind of critical moments and big decisions that were taken?
It was definitely a fun time for everyone in the world back then. Everyone had to pivot in a way, as business in the family entertainment center market was slow. So where do we focus? Where do we shift? What do we do? We were very strong and still are very, very strong on the content development side. While the FEC industry was on a pause, and it was a pause, everyone was aware of that, we pivoted and started working on some large-scale training programs. Back then in the European Union, there were a lot of tender projects that involved military training and defense training generally in virtual reality, which was an opportunity for us, and we developed an extremely complex VR training platform for a defense agency here in Romania. And a year, 2 years later, we found ourselves at a point in time where we had to make a decision, where do we want to go? And in the defense side of the business, we also explored it a lot. We looked at what the market is, how the market works. We liked that niche as well. In many ways, it was not that much different than the amusement industry, but at the same time, completely different. As a company, we took a time back then, a couple of weeks, where we analyzed everything. But the most important thing we looked at is what is actually our passion, what keeps us going, what is the thing that gets us smiling every morning and keeps us waiting late hours every night. And for us, everyone agreed it's the amusement and the leisure part of the business. So we decided we're going to go 100% in the amusement industry. This is our focus. This is the market where we want to be. We love that feeling when you see people experience our product, you see them sharing that wow phase, that wow excitement, and you see them having fun together, creating those impressions, those emotions in guests and in people in general is what we are passionate about and what we do. And a few years later, here we are with Qbix. That's currently growing a lot. 2 years since its release, it's currently in roughly 45 locations, and we estimate up to 100 by the end of this year. Successful worldwide product that create wow moments for guests everywhere in the world.
Exciting. So 45 locations currently, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And where is your main market today?
We did a deep analysis at the start of this year and looked at how the global market performs. We're still working a lot in North America. North America is probably half of our entire market. We're seeing a big growth in the Middle East as well, which is around 22% of everything that we do, while Europe is close to 15, 16, and the rest of the world covers the difference. So I'd say North American market, big hype and a big focus for Qbix, the Middle East as well, and pretty much everywhere else. It's a global product, we're a global company, and It's the type of attraction that draws interest from everywhere. It's different, it's unique, and functions in unexpected ways, and that's what attracts.
So Qbix, I mean, we've met a few times at IAPA in Orlando. Last visit, I was really impressed by the upgrades that you made on the product, and also the new games. Remind me, how many games are there in the Qbix offer?
There are 6 different game titles in it at the moment. We took around 2 years of R&D and testing to get Qbix to a proper point where it can be sold as an attraction and it can actually function as an attraction. And we haven't stopped experiencing ever since. In 2023, when we officially and completely launched the product, it had 3 games available, and we tested 3 different directions. Let's see what the wide demographic, what the wide appeal actually is. So we had a game for kids. Kids, I'm talking here 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. The zombie shooter, which we all know these type of attractions need to have, and also something that was more on the puzzle side of everything. Through a lot of exploring, a lot of conversation with the locations that were testing it, we went into the direction that you saw at IAPA, at the last IAPA show, with the cooking game, with Chef Express, with Mommy Twist, the puzzle, the escape game type of a concept, which are proving to be very, very successful in all of the locations. And it's a statement to where this industry is going to go, in a way, and to what guests will want to play in maybe 3 years, and how things will change.
Yeah. And I would agree with you. I mean, we were having a discussion that actually this morning here in Asia with the RH1 team, discussing about some of the projects with some of our clients. And we can see as well this shift of not just about shooting anymore or pure arcade, but how can our consumers, how can the visitors, how can the players interact with each other? And that new Express Chef or Express Cooking game that you just launched really is in my view hitting a nice point where teams are working together, or they have to cross, they're interacting to each other. And the visibility point, I think, is really interesting. The fact that it's in a box, but you can have people sitting outside, and your booth was really full, right? I mean, there was a lot of people outside standing, watching others play, and that's really what the kind of crowd that you want to build. You want to create excitement not only for the players but for the visitors as well.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, we're experiencing a shift where players will no longer want to do passive experiences. They want to do them active, they want to do them social, and they want to be surprised every time they play it, every time they experience it. And indeed, we have the 2 different layers, the people watching and the people playing. And it's funny how they interact with each other, how the ones playing catch the attention of the ones watching, and they just keep on watching and they want to play it again. And funny enough, this has actually been proven several times. We have locations where if the earliest group at 10, 11, 12, the group that plays Qbix the first time in the day is playing Chef Express, or is playing the zombie shooter or the mommy game, that's going to be the most played game for the entire course of the day. That's how much this impacts. You are seeing those people having fun in that game. Man, that looks so fun. That looks so exciting. I want to do that, not something else. I saw them laughing. I saw them enjoying that. I want to do the same thing. And we're seeing that across several locations. And especially Qbix, as you know, it's a self-service product. It's designed to run unattended. I'm not going to call it unattended because it's an attraction. It still needs some supervision, some hands-on, but it works completely 100% self-service. I think we're seeing this happening a lot more in locations that are completely self-service, where the player is the one interacting with the game. They see those people, oh, they're cooking a game. I believe it's this one, Chef Express. Yeah, let's play that one immediately after they're done. In certain other locations, depending on where they're positioned in the world, we all know in the Middle East, for example, they tend to put a staff member on almost anything. In those type of locations, things are a bit different, and the staff member can sometimes influence what game they should play. It's a family with 2 6-year-old kids. We're going to let them play the kids' game.
Interesting. So, line up for 2025. You were saying how many in total now? We started with 3, and now how many in total?
Right now we have 6.
6 games.
We have a 7th game coming out soon, and an 8th game. Those are 2 titles that we're working on simultaneously. We're going to have another one by the end of the year. So we estimate another 3 game titles for Qbix by the end of 2025.
So still the same shell, still the same box, but just more games inside.
Exactly. Okay. And we found this really unique direction with games such as the cooking one, Chef Express, with the Mommy Twist, Egypt-themed escape room, which are fairly unique, and you don't really see anything else like that anywhere out there. And that's a direction we plan to follow. It checks those important boxes. They're social, they're different, they're fun, they're engaging, and that's the direction we want to pursue continuing from now on. This new generation of players who pretty soon are going to become the main players in our industry. We feel they don't want to do basic things anymore. You see them on the street, and all I'm hearing are words like "You're Sigma," "You're Ohio," which I had to Google online to actually learn what they mean. But this is a generation that wants to be surprised. They want to be left impressed. They don't want to experience Ohio things. Let's just call it like that.
All right, we'll put that as a title, the Ohio experience. But so, tell us about the size. What is the footprint that we need to install Qbix?
It's 4 by 4 meters, so small, compact. Okay. The height itself can be adjusted. The standard piece, it's 3 meters tall, and we've had cases where we had to make it smaller, which is not a problem. The product allows that. Small in footprint, 6 people in it. A very simple product when you look at it. It uses projections, the handheld controller that allows players to interact with all the games, with all the elements in the environment. What comes with a few surprises as well. It has a vibrating floor, wind effects that always catch players by surprise. It's funny when you see them playing the zombie game, for example, and the floor all of a sudden starts shaking, and they're like, "Oh, what happened? Where am I? What's going on?" It's funny this is going to be a bad pun on my end, but it's just funny watching young kids play it and they get scared when that floor vibrates. It's always a fun experience.
Any new other products beside Qbix that you're able to share? Or I know you use the big events of IAPA for your product launches. Any maybe kind of hint of if something is coming, or maybe I can rephrase it in the other way. Do you see an opportunity in this industry in other type of games besides? So this is we're not really VR. We're actually in the AR world with Qbix.
Exactly. Let's call it AR because that's what it is. Using projectors and the handheld controller, it augments the environment that we're in and allows us to transform Qbix in literally anything, a pyramid creep, a cooking show, a labyrinth where we're being chased by zombies, or a spaceship where we have to solve puzzles and beat an evil army of aliens. Qbix allows all of that to happen. And extremely, extremely simple, because at the end of the day, it's a self-service product. We don't want it to be complex. We want it to be simple, fast, efficient, and fun. Like you mentioned, Qbix will play a big part of our development pipeline going into 2025. It's a product that keeps on growing, and we see a lot of interest in the market and a lot of deliveries coming out next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out in the press and the media. I'm not allowed to share many of the projects now, but we'll see plenty of them in some major groups in the world. We're not going to stop at Qbix, however. We do have some new developments in the pipeline. They are a bit bigger in size and at the same time something completely different. And the main things that I can say right now is they work and function as attractions that work not in an FEC environment, but separate environments. We're going to work a lot more with the retail sector, with the shopping mall industry, but more information as time passes. But as pipeline goes, we've got plenty of it.
Excellent. So what I'm hearing is Inowize still growing, a lot of new markets opening, a lot of orders in the books, new markets that are developing, and also new products. I think if you're going after the shopping mall, that's another also area within the entertainment industry that is very, very smart to attack. In this part of the world, in Asia, we're seeing a huge demand and a big conversion of shopping malls moving to what we call mall entertainment. We're working on one project in Cambodia, which is converting the actual mall into an entertainment base where customers can go around and get different types of entertainment, either classic or with technology enhanced or with Instagrammable moments. But then the shops are no longer the primary reason to go to that destination. It's more for how we can, along the journey of the customer in the mall, can visitors enjoy entertainment activities. And we're talking about mini golf, we're talking about go-karting, we're talking about net climbs, we're talking about outdoor spaces with shades for pictures and so on. So really exciting and glad to hear that Inowize is taking that direction. So are we gonna get a chance to see that in IAAPA this year or not?
Something, at least
something's happening. All right. I don't want you to give away any secret, but at least we're hearing that there's an innovation happening in Romania. So stay tuned.
I just wanted to say that as manufacturers, we're the ones carrying the flame and the responsibility of carrying the innovation forward and never stopping. Keep on going.
Great. Let's talk about the industry a bit. We just mentioned about the shopping malls. What are the big trends that you're seeing in the next 3 to 5 years? And in this industry, we see that the UK is really taking on this wave of social gaming. US is also upgrading their position as mono games, bowling only, arcade only, go-kart only, and becoming these huge centers with a lot of different offers to bring to the table. What are you seeing coming in the next 3 to 5 years, Stefan?
Plenty of things that will change. And funny enough, it's always hard to give the right estimate. And something that I just love about our industry, we can give all the prognosis that we want to give, but in reality, it's us, the people doing this, that can actually drive the industry to a direction or another. So you actually have this power as a manufacturer, as an operator. You can shift an entire industry on a global scale, even by investing and looking at what the direction is going to be. I think the most important way when analyzing future trends and where our industry is going to go is not looking at us as manufacturers or at the location as the operator, but looking at our clients, at their clients, at the people that actually come and pay the ticket, that pay for the game, that pay for the laser tag session. Those are the ones that drive the change and drive the industry in a direction or another. And talking about this new generation, the Gen Z, and their new approach to everything. I mean, we're a couple of years away from a moment when they'll actually be core spenders in many different locations. And the main thing that we see is they don't want to do basic. They want to do wow. They want to feel wow. They want to be impressed. They want to go home and tell a story about it, and they want to be among the first to experience it in many cases. The social element is not going away anytime soon, so it will still be here. Even my generation, together with Gen Z, we want to do social things. We don't want to do individualistic things. We don't want to play a game by ourselves anymore. We want to do it in a group, being them friends, family, or colleagues. On top of that aspect, dear master visionary Mr. Joe Pine was spot on when saying that we are now entering the transformational economy, where people are going to come to our location and they want to feel something by the time they leave. They want to be left with an impression. And being it the impression of winning top one player in Chef Express, or being it the impression of going back home with something that I know to do now that I didn't know to do before, will definitely play a role in what our industry is going to do and where it's going to change. The direction of becoming more than bowling or laser tag or just arcade is only going to keep on growing. We are going to see a lot more immersion elements in it because, again, our future generations are going to want to do something unique every time they come and visit. And immersive technologies are a very efficient way to offer that. Many different directions. I'm actually getting a lot of operators that are in the planning stage right now that want to offer a complete package. And many requests along the line of integrating Qbix in their center, but not just on a point of sale system, on a card reader. Something beyond that, something that will drive return visits and replayability, something that is completely integrated in the entire location. So when I come, I pay one ticket, I do everything that I do, but I have a resume of my experience at the end. I'm part of a group that did the same experiences. I can check that. I can compare my scores. I can get awards. I can get rewards based on how well I perform. And we're seeing an increase in requests from that point of view as well, which I think is online with everything else.
So how does that look like? I mean, is it, so you're saying that the customer would come into an FEC and they would play All You Can Play as a formula, and then they would come out with a resume of what they did or their scores or how they ranked compared to others. Is that right?
That's one of the elements in it, and this is one of the type of requests we constantly receive. It's more along the line of the player always going home with the experience. So he can log in on a platform and always check what he did and how he performed at that location. One aspect of it. But in many ways, it's always keeping the player engaged with the location and the experiences they can do in the location, or at least have an immediate channel where he can be connected with those.
Interesting.
It will be interesting.
Yeah. So talking about operators, for someone who, let's say, who wants to start in the FEC, we see a lot of more individuals. We see a lot of new players coming to the market. What kind of advice would you give to someone who's interested in developing either an existing type or maybe coming with a new type of entertainment? What kind of advice would you give to them?
First, congrats on coming in this industry. It's going to be very hard to leave once you dip your toes in this water. I think one of the strongest advices, and this is actually something that I discovered online a couple of days ago on a similar topic. In this industry, and the two of us have been doing it for a while, you a lot longer than I did, and we can confirm this is as solid as it gets. What you know today won't be sufficient for you to do your job tomorrow in this industry. That's, I think, one of the most important advices I can give. Things change on such a fast pace. We have new technology showing up, new manufacturer, new vendors, new locations, new demographics and age groups that have different needs and desires. So constantly learning, constantly researching, being active, being present. It's an active industry. You can't do it if you're passive.
That makes a lot of sense. Back in the days, you would have your arcade, you would shuffle a bit of the games, but or you would have your ice skating ring or your go-kart track, and it would run until it have to. You would adjust a bit. But I think here, and again, resonating on what you mentioned earlier about the experience, it's just not enough. It's just not enough to come and use the tool and walk away. There has to be more to it. With the whole environment, maybe the food, the drinks, the music, the theme, what you can get away, maybe some personal scores, access to the system. So there's a lot more to it. So where maybe 20 years ago, we would, those who had the courage to go into the field and invest and were very successful, being a bit complacent over the years and not really stretching and finding ways to meet expectation of new customers, which is why we see such a new and large range of new players on the market coming in and trying to disrupt that old industry of Chuck E. Cheese or Dave and Buster's, finding ways to say, okay, we can do better than this. There's more than just putting games and having snacks. So that's amazing. That's great.
Exactly, and waiting for things to happen. It's about being active, and I think the other piece of advice, they go hand in hand. They're so important. No matter if you're operating, if you are a manufacturer, if you're a vendor, if you're a content creator, whatever you do in this industry, we always have to start with the question: who or what audience is this for? This being your future location, your future product, your future arcade, your future attraction. That needs to sit at the foundation of everything that we do.
Amazing. That's a nice way to kind of wrap up our conversation today. One last question before we let you go, and you have a whole day ahead of you. I'd like to finish off with our kind of a personal note. You're hands-on and you're traveling all over the world, but outside of work at Inowize, what's any personal hobbies or interests that fuel your creativity, the things that keep you always allow you to have a fresh perspective?
Several of them, and funny enough, they all involve me being alone, detached from society in a way. I love hiking. I'm an avid hiker, being it rain, snow, cold, hot, whatever it is. I just go somewhere, the forest, mountains ideally, but this tends to get harder and harder as time is shorter. But just detach myself from everyone, a couple of hours, go and do my thing. That's one. On the same note, late night driving. There's just something unique about driving at
late night driving. Okay.
Time, yeah, just drive midnight time. No cars on the street. Drive for half an hour. Allows me to settle down, relax, focus on the things that happen over the day. Think about them and prepare for tomorrow when things get a bit overwhelming. That's one simple, easy, funny thing to do for everyone.
If you're in Romania and you see somebody around midnight driving around, it's probably Stefan.
That's another one of the fun, cool things to do. But basically, just detach a bit from the world and just spend some time with myself and think without thinking in a way. Just let the thoughts flow, and let's call it, you get the energy back once you let everything clear out.
Amazing. Stefan Murariu, Global Head of Sales of Inowize. Thanks for joining us today. Real pleasure, and looking forward to meet again in one of the conventions or expos around the world. If there's a way for someone to contact you, how do we reach you?
LinkedIn, or I can also send you a text with phone number, email, whatever can be added in the video later on. But LinkedIn, I'm always active. You can find me there any time of the day or the night.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stefan.
Awesome. Thank you, Claude, as well, to the team. All the best thoughts with all of your projects. I really love that the series and the direction that you're heading with it, and look forward to seeing you hopefully in a couple of months at one of the first trade shows.